So for those of you guys who've never been on a cruise ship, there's lots to drink, lots to eat, lots of activities, and most of all, it's relatively affordable. This boat here that I'm on is called the Carnival Miracle. I'm on here with Megan for about 4 days, I think it is. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been the best, but there has been some sunny days and we've had a great time. However, this vlog is not going to be about the Carnival cruise ship, but instead about a session I played last week in Austin, Texas, which was a pretty big game, a 2550 no limit on their live stream. A few of you guys caught that on the Lodge YouTube channel, but most of you guys didn't, so I figured I'd summarize the hands here on YouTube. Before we get into those hands though, I wanted to give you guys an update about this upcoming month. I'm going to be in Vegas for 4 weeks, playing a bunch of cash and a few tournaments here and there. I'm going to try to vlog as much as I can, but I won't be able to vlog every single session or every single tournament, just because, you know, I edit my own videos. So unless I want to be stuck in the Airbnb editing nonstop, I'm going to have to pick and choose. So what I'm going to do is play a bunch of cash and maybe vlog 1 or 2 sessions a week. Similar style for the tournaments, try to play as many as I can, and the content for this upcoming month should be a ton of fun. So that's what there is to look forward to. If you guys are interested, feel free to subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned for all those upcoming videos. For now, we're going to discuss the 2550 session from Austin, like I said. So without any further ado, let's get into those hands. Okay everyone, as mentioned, playing some 2550 no limit today. I buy in for $20,000 and we start the night off with a $100 PLO bomb pot. I get dealt Jack 9-7-6 and flop 3 of a kind on 6-6 deuce. Seems like a strong hand at first glance, but when you consider that it's PLO and we're 9 ways to the flop, really not as good as it looks. So I check it and action gets to Chaz in middle position who bets 900. Folds back to me, and already it's not a very fun situation, as we could easily be up against a full house or even trips with a better kicker, but we can still hit a Jack, 9, or 7, which would improve us to pretty much the nuts. So I make the call, and we go to a turn heads up. No such luck though, as we see the 10 of spades. I check it again. This time he fires for $2,000, and I pretty quickly just let it go. In the next hand, the straddle is on. Actually, it was on all night, so this entire session is pretty much 25-50, 100. Action gets to me in middle position, and I look down at ace jack, open it up to 300, and then it folds to Bart Hanson in the small blind. He decides to make it $1,200, and then it folds back to me. By the way, I know my cards aren't showing yet, but you'll see the ace jack pop up in a minute. Anyway, we're playing this hand with around $15,000 stacks, so all options are on the table here. Folding seems fine against a relatively tight opponent. Calling seems okay, being that we're in position. And raising feels like a good option too, since our hand isn't very strong but has removal to some good holdings like aces, ace-king, jacks, whatever. In the end, I decide just to flat call and try to either connect with the flop or perhaps steal the pot on an advantageous board. So I put in the extra 900 and we go to a flop. Dealer puts out 10-7-6 rainbow, and already I can feel this might turn into a big pot. The reason why is because this is a board where I could have a lot of strong hands, whereas Bart's strongest hands are probably just over pairs. I mean, sure, sometimes he could have 10s, but for the most part, he's going to have either Broadway cards or a big pocket pair. On the other hand, I could have 9-8 suited, 7-6 suited, all the possible sets. So when he checks it over to me, it's time to start applying some pressure. I start off with a small bet, but he doesn't fold just yet, so we're off to a turn card, which is the 9 of spades. This is about the best card we could ask for, since any 8 now makes a straight. He's almost never going to have a hand that contains an 8, but we definitely will. Also, this turn card could have improved hands like pocket 9s, pocket 8s, 10-9 suited, all of which I would also bet small on the flop. So for all those reasons, I'm happy to continue betting when he checks it over to me. Because we have so many hands that are betting here, no need to size up, so I bet 30% of the pot, and after some deliberation, he calls again. Now this is concerning because I think the only hands he would continue with are either pocket tens, ace 10, ace x of spades, which in this case is not possible since we have that card. That being said, when the king of spades comes on the river and he checks again, we have a very clear bluff candidate here. Not only is ace jack one of the weakest holdings we would ever arrive at the river with, but we can also discount almost all flushes since we hold the ace of spades. In addition, any straight here would continue betting for value, as would any backdoor flushes I could have like queen jack of spades, 8-7 of spades, 5-4 of spades, etc. You guys get what I'm saying. So the pot is now 6.6k, and I think going for a big size makes the most sense here. I settled on 75%, which I roughly estimated to be around 5k. After deciding that this was the best course of action, I placed the bet out there, and now it's just time to wait and see.
5k even. And now you see Bart scratching his ear, adjusting the mask, touching the nips. He's squirming in his seat a little bit. Might need a diaper change, but he is a smart man. Wow. And let's see if this gets through. Mariano, props to him for pulling the trigger. Triple barrel. Ace of spades, a key card.
Spades get there. 4-liner.
This might get through. This is a doozy of a hand here in the blender. Summertime fall blender. Pumpkin spice.
Regardless of what happens here, what a bet.
You like it?
By Mariano.
I said it needed to be 5K or north, and he nails 5K on the dot. Let's see it in the chat right now. 1 for a call, 2 for a fold. 1 for a call, 2 for a fold. I'm going to start us off right now with a 1, and he makes the call.
After a few minutes, Bart decides on a call with 2 pair. Seems like a close spot for him. Unfortunately, this time, it doesn't work out for us, but still pretty happy with how I played the hand. What I was not happy with is getting no cards for the next hour and a half or so, before eventually getting involved with 9-7 in the straddle. In this one, Rampage opens up late position to $300. There's 2 callers behind him, and I complete the extra $200. Probably could fold this hand heads up, but with 2 other players, now we're getting way too good of a price. Anyway, flop comes down 10-8-3 rainbow, giving us a straight draw. Big blind checks, I check. Ethan continues for 700. Button calls, and then the big blind calls as well. Now it's my turn, and my read on the situation is that no one is too strong here. Perhaps Ethan could have a good hand, but the other 2 guys probably don't have much since they'd most likely raise 2 pairs and sets being this deep. So I decided to play this draw aggressively, try to apply max pressure on Ethan while trying to take down the dead money from the 2 other guys. Probably not going to get folds from everyone on the flop though, so I elect on a relatively small size with the intention of sizing up on the turn, just like I would with any strong hand here.
Rampage here with the best hand here, but after Mariano's aggression here, I don't see Rampage continuing, even though he's invested 700. I think he'll end up folding the best hand here. How painful it is to do so. Only have 7.2 behind, 2.8 a large number, and he gets away. Everybody gets away there, so a nice bet from Mariano. Stuck a little bit from his move on Mr. Hanson, get some of that money back with showing aggression with, in reality, it was just only 9 high.
However, lo and behold, everyone ends up folding. So not a ton of action, but always nice to take down a few $1,000 with 9 high. Moving along, in the next one, there's a double straddle on to $200. I open queen 9 suited in middle position to 600 and get called by the cutoff and the first straddle. Flop comes king, king, queen, which checks all the way around. Turn is the 5 of hearts, and now the straddle leads for around 1/3 pot. Pretty straightforward call here. Cutoff folds, and we go heads up to the deuce of spades on the river. Now he fires again for $2,500. And this spot just sucks. On one hand, there's a bunch of missed flush draws and straight draws, but on the other hand, he could certainly have a king or even pocket 5s. I think on paper, the correct play here is to call, but after talking to him for a bit, I just got the vibe that he wasn't bluffing. So eventually, I elected on a painful fold but it's nice to see that this time it was correct. Making tight folds isn't really my biggest strength, so that was pleasantly surprising. In the next hand, that same player opens in late position to 350. I call in the big blind with 10-8 suited, and the straddle folds. We see a flop of 7-7-3 rainbow. Not much for either of us, so we both check it and go to the 10 of hearts on the turn. At this point in the hand, I would for sure start bluffing with flush draws and straight draws, so I think also betting strong hands is a must. This time I bet $750 and Sai makes the call. River comes off a 3 of clubs, and now we have a decision to make. At first glance, I think a check appears natural since we have a mediocre hand on a double paired board. However, I think we can go for some thin value here, because if I was to fire again, he's either going to put me on a full house or a missed draw of some sort. As such, he could sometimes call with ace high, which I think is a likely holding for him, and then we end up winning the pot anyways with top pair. So I decide to fire again and choose a size I would also use for any bluffs.
Going for a large number. Overbets the pot here. Pretty aggressive line here just with 10-8. It is the best hand, but I think you're really only getting called by something that has you beat here, so. Whoa, gets called.
There's Mariano, makes the value bet.
Side calls, targeting exactly ace high, and Sai pays it off.
A few rounds later, Sai opens again. I raise to 1100 with pocket 10s, and he makes the call. Flop comes with a king and a queen, so when he checks, I check it back. Turn is a brick, he bets, I fold. Cool story, right? Then I go back to getting no playable hands until finally, in the last shuffle of the night, I look down at a good hand at last. Pocket queens, in the straddle, no less. There's an early position open to 350, the button calls, and I gladly raise it up to $1,800. Both of my opponents end up making the call, so a sizable pot building already, and we go to a flop of Jack 8-5 rainbow. This is a situation where we're either going to be massive favorites or nearly drawing dead versus flopped sets. So I think checking overpair sometimes in these spots makes a lot of sense, especially out of position. So that's what I do. Player on my left now bets tiny, $1,100. Sai folds, and of course I make the call. Could even raise here sometimes versus such a small size, but this time I just flat, and we go to a turn which is another 5. Seems like a good one, reducing the possibility of pocket 5s. I check again, and this time he checks it back. River comes out an interesting card, the ace of clubs. Even though it's an overcard to our pair, I don't really think it's much reason for concern unless we're up against exactly ace-jack, and that hand would probably continue betting on the turn. For that reason, I think we can either check and try to get to showdown, or put in a tiny bet and target hands like king-jack, queen-jack, jack-10 suited, maybe even smaller pocket pairs that get curious like 10s or 9s. So I bet $1,500 here. Now my opponent gives it a long think before announcing all in. Not the words we wanted to hear. Now it seems pretty obvious that we're beat, even though he's representing barely any hands. For a brief moment, I consider the possibility that he could be bluffing, perhaps induced by my small river sizing, but in the end, I just let it go, and as you guys can see, he flopped a set of 8s. Pretty frustrating to run bad when you're taking a shot at a bigger game, but to be honest, seems like first world problems to me. Anyway, that was a wrap for the stream, but stay tuned for a few extra hands that came after the cameras were shut off. Right, so as you guys can see, it wasn't the most eventful live stream. I didn't really pick up too many hands, and the few that I did, I never really had the best hand except for one time. I did play 2 more hands after the stream that I thought were noteworthy. So in the first one, I looked down at ace king suited, opened it up to $300, playing 25, 50, 100, and get called just by the big blind. This guy was a new player into the game who jumped in after the stream. Don't know his name, but anyway, we went to a flop of ace 8-8 rainbow. He checked, I decided to check it back. Turn card was an offsuit 3, I believe. This time he bets out for the size of the pot. Definitely can't raise, can't fold either. That just leaves one option, and that's call. River is a good one. It's another ace, so now we make the best possible hand aside from pocket eights. Not too worried about that though, and especially so when he checks it over to me. I decide to bet 1/3 pot, and he shows me 8-7 suited and folds face up. Okay, nice hand. A few minutes later, there was an open from the cutoff, I believe, or some player in late position. I look down at Queen 9 of Hearts on the button and raise it up to 900, I believe. Anyway, everyone else folded. He makes the call, and we go heads up to a flop of Jack 5-4 rainbow with 1 heart out there. He checks it, I bet small, and he calls. Turn card is a good one. It's the King of Hearts, giving us a straight draw and a flush draw. And it's also a card where, you know, we could have some stuff like Ace King. So when he checks it to me, I'm definitely going to continue betting. This time I bet the size of the pot. My opponent is still not done with it though, as he makes the call. Off to a river, which is an offsuit ace. Are you getting bored yet? He checks once again, and you know, I'm not done betting just yet. I have queen high, and you know, it's a board where, like I said, I could have some stuff. So I bet around 2/3 the size of the pot. He hems and haws for a while before eventually calling with 5-4 offsuit. So I lost a bunch of money there. And yeah, in total, I think I ended up losing around 15K or something like that. When you play 25, 50, 100, you win a few pots and you're gonna win tens of thousands maybe, and you lose a few pots, it's gonna go the other way. Such is the nature of playing big games. Unfortunately, this time it didn't go my way, but hopefully we could grind it back up, and next time I fire in some big no-limit games, maybe I run a little bit better and find some more value hands. Maybe even play a little better, who knows? So we'll see. Like I said, stay tuned for those videos coming up, and until next time, guys, good luck at the tables. Say bye to Megan. She'll be gone for a little bit on the vlog, but she'll be back at some point. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.